Hi everyone, I'm Eric.
I'm Rich.
I'm Craig.
And we are Whose Turn Board Games. In today's video we're going to be talking, we're actually going to be doing a review for the game Stone Age. As you probably have seen our other videos on it, we have done a setup on how to play, kind of the rules for the game, our playthrough of it, so you can check the videos on the icon up above or the end cards if you want to check those out. This is just kind of our thoughts on the game, not really our pros and cons, so to speak, but our general likes and dislikes about the game, everything like that, and just kind of our honest opinion of it. So, I guess I'll start us off. I really, really, really love the fact that you're always doing something on this game. You're always kind of placing guys out, you're always gaining something. Even if it's a waste of turn going for food, you're still doing something at all times. You're never stuck in a rut entirely. You're getting something out of it. Yeah, you can have those bad dice rolls, which is kind of a negative in my eyes, but I just love the fact that you're always doing something in some capacities.
Mm.
Yeah, and your decisions are very meaningful, I feel like. The biggest thing with that is what I'd like to call calculated risks. Like, you can sit there and know, okay, what resources do I need to gain to be able to do what I need to do, and now how many meeples do I need to put on that? What kind of a roll do I need to get those resources, and is that going to be good enough? Do I need to put 2 guys here, or do I want to put a 3rd guy there? A 3rd guy would make it 100%, but now that takes all of my meeples. I can't go get that science card I want. Calculated risks is my favorite part, because it's like, okay, I can fail. I can definitely fail this, but I put enough guys on there to know if I have an average roll of dice, I'm going to get it. And then you have those games where the sucky part about it, like Eric said, oh, I had an unaverage roll of dice and I failed. And I think when we played in our playthrough, I got all of my calculated risks. Eric missed a few of his. I mean, that could be the difference in the game, which kind of sucks that it comes down to dice, but I don't know. That part of the game kind of is fun for me. Even if you're behind, you're still trying to make those, and now maybe you play riskier and you can get back in the game. Throw one guy on goal, roll 6.
Yeah, and one thing real quick about that, yes, the dice is such a point in this game, but I love the fact that the tech, the tools, help negate if you play crap. If you roll like crap, cool. I roll like absolute crap. My tools still come out. They can still save the day. Didn't for me, but it can, and I love the fact that that's at least an option there.
One of the things I like, but also kind of dislike about Stone Age is there's certain cards in the game that are significantly more powerful than others, like the ×2 multipliers or the ×3 multipliers for buildings and meeples and science and tech and all that. You want to go there. One good thing about this game also is that you can block players from going on certain areas, so even if you necessarily can't get it or want to get it just to kind of block some of them so they can't get it because they're stockpiling tech or something, this man over here, that is part of the game, to be able to try and block people from being able to do that. You could technically even load up all your guys on wood and just stockpile it because resources are finite. I like that, but I also sort of dislike it by the fact that it kind of controls on what you have to do on your turn. I really don't want to go down and grab a 3-tool multiplier card when I have 0 tools in my thing, knowing that if I leave it for Eric, it could score him 15 plus points. It's something I have to do even if I don't want to spend the resources, because he will spend 3 or 4 resources on that card every time.
But that's actually one thing that I like about it, is that you can play defensively or aggressively. So you can just put a guy on there just to stop me from getting that card maybe that turn. You could maybe end up getting it.
But then I would also possibly get blocked out of something else I need, just because I need to try and block you from that. Now I'm all of a sudden blocked on wood, and now I have to try and get stone or brick to get my other cards I actually want. And then that one just rolls over into the next round because it stays there. If you don't buy it, it doesn't get discarded. I wish this game would make it so if you went on it, you didn't buy it, it'd still get discarded. Didn't necessarily lose your play. You could block it and just get rid of it and still keep your resources. But
I disagree with that. But that's fair. In the end, it's one of the ways the game ends is when the cards are out, so you have to get all the cards out. But It's still a fair point. I never thought about like discarding cards entirely. So
To add on to one of those things with buying your went towards the board being placed over here with no board. But to buying the cards, I mean that's part of the game with calculated risk too. Is getting the maybe you go on the 4 resource one, but now me and Eric saw you took a 4 resource card. Well, you're going to need 4 resources. We go wood. Okay, now good luck paying brick to get the 4 resource card. There's just so many different ways to play, and honestly, they all work. So it's all about, which is the nice part, because it's all about executing your strategy. Having a plan and executing it well is what wins you this game, not necessarily there's one strategy to play and I picked it and I got it, so now I win.
I would disagree. If you don't go heavy wheat, you are not you have to go wheat. You have to. Like that's the one strategy that's resounding. Like you have to go.
But it's kind of almost, I thought of it as part of the strategy.
Yeah.
But that was one of the cons that I had about this game too. Is there's kind of 3 things that, and I mean that's where the rules, when you only have 3 people, only let you do 2 of them, so you have to pick. But there's basically 3 things that are gonna be your first turn in the round.
Yeah.
Until it gets to the end of the game where, okay, now maybe getting points is gonna be your best thing in buying a card or a house. But for the majority of the start to middle of the game, you're either going to go on to tech, make a baby, but even that you're not gonna do too often, and get wheat. So the first 2 players are gonna go tech wheat every time.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I have the con. Like I was saying, with the strategy, it's people always go right off the bat wheat, and then it's tech. And then if they can, they'll sometimes make a baby, but it's like that's the one strategy that we've always seen 100% of the time fail, where it's like you just go heavy making babies because you have to be going on
too much food. And food's basically just a waste.
That's one thing I kind of dislike as well, is it seems like you have to go on those 3 spots immediately in the beginning. If I'm player 1, I have to pick one of those because there's 0 chance it's coming back around and I'm going to be able to get on it unless it's like last turn, second to last turn, and I can go there gaining, since of my multipliers, I could go there and gain like 1 wheat is like 6 points. It kind of is annoying because then it kind of restricts your first action when you're first or second to play. But
and sometimes there's a cool card that you feel like you want, but now, towards the middle of the game, say you're on the science or culture thing, and it's gonna get close to completing your set, and it's one of the cards you need, maybe the other people have been kind of paying attention and they know it too, or someone else is doing a lot of it. You might have to go for it first, and now you gave up wheat and tech.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I do not like about the game, is that the sneak attack scoring at the end of the game of all the multipliers, all that stuff, it has lost us. Like everyone here has lost those games all of a sudden, like at the very end, being all like, "Oh, you got this in the bag. You definitely have," and then you're like, "Well, just kidding. I actually have."
A million multipliers that I didn't even remember I had.
It's hard. It's really hard to gauge the scoring in this game unless you are like a hawk watching what everyone is grabbing and memorizing what everyone has grabbed for like the multiplier.
Yeah. But it's a minor one because it's like, yeah, that sucks, but at the same time, it is really fun when we do that. So it's a catch-22 of I hate it when it happens to me, but it's really fun to do it to everyone.
And to be fair, I feel like there's obviously the outliers, but most of the time, the games are fairly reasonable score-wise.
Yeah.
Like, people are pretty close to each other.
With this, it's one of the strategies that doesn't like ever work, like Eric was saying, is going heavy meeple early. Because if you go and try and get up to like the max meeple count, or even go up significantly early to like 7 or 8, you're really not gaining anything because you're just going to end up having 2 to 3 meeples on food every single round because you need to be able to feed them. So unless you got extremely lucky with community dice rolls from some of the cards and gotten just a boatload of wheat for free, you're probably not going to go up to much over 7, I'd say, meeples like ever in this game.
And you'd have to do it pretty early to get to 7, or in the middle get to 7, because late game you're not going to want to make a meeple eat anyway, because there's so many point scoring opportunities you need to take advantage of.
Yeah.
Putting 2 of your meeples down to get an extra one is such a waste. But yeah.
At the same time, maybe we've just literally been playing it wrong the whole time of just, hey, yeah, you're right, you have to put people on there, but Yeah, like I said.
But usually, in my experience, that extra person ends up going on to food later on anyway.
Yeah.
So okay, congrats, you know, lost 2 that turn to gain another one next turn, and next turn that one's probably going on to food.
But
so
that also
did you gain
makes
anything?
those cards that give you like 5 or whatever food
very worth it. Yeah.
That much better, because then you don't have to necessarily go on food for possibly 2 turns.
Yeah, one last thing I do want to mention about this in general was it's a very good intro to board gaming one. So like if I'm teaching somebody who doesn't really play a lot of board games, this is one of the ones that I will typically teach them, because it's a very good worker placement. It kind of teaches them about the resources, like you need to get certain resources, you know, it kind of opens that door for other, I want to say better games, but more advanced games would be a better way to say that, I think. And as much as we're saying like the bad things about it, it's because we play this game way too much. That's why we can pick apart the fact, well, list strategies is, we wish it could make it work, but it's a very good, well-rounded game in general, and that's very, very awesome to teach newer people.
Yep. Want to get into better strategy worker placement games? Buy Stone Age.
Yeah. Yep. It's a very good intro to it.
Yes.
So with that being said, I would give this game overall on a score like 1 to 10, definitely a 9, because it's a very good, easy game to pick up and play. It's still fun. I still love playing this game, even after I've played it for so many years. It's one of my favorites still. So it's one that can stay on the table. It's one that can be good for newer and older people, older players in general. And it's just, as many flaws as it has, the well-roundedness of it kind of makes up for that. So I would say solid 9.
That was actually where I was going to. For me, this one's a 9. The biggest things are you get to, you know, you have decisions that count. The calculated risk thing for me is huge, because it's not just super random, and it's really not that long. Like an hour and a half maybe. You can get this game done pretty easily, and yeah, there's a reason why we've been playing it for a long time.
I guess if I had to give it a score, it'd probably be a 7, I'd say. It's not that I dislike the game. This game, I just feel like it's, for the same reason that they're saying it's a really good game, I'm also kind of saying it's kind of a mid-game for me, because it's more of an intro game for me. I think there is better worker placement games out there that I would much rather get to the table over Stone Age, but we've just played Stone Age so much that it's like, do a game that's quick and we can get it done and off the table fairly fast. We know we can do this. There's many other worker placement games that are very drawn out. I overall really like the game, and if you're ever looking to get into the board games, I would say definitely pick up Stone Age, because it is definitely one of the better intro games.
Or a warm-up game for board games.
It's definitely one that if you don't have it, someone in your circle of friends who plays it should have it, because it's one that you should be playing every once in a while, even if it's just once a year. It's always worth going back to. So that's kind of what our thoughts on it for Stone Age are overall. If you like this game like we do, a couple that I would recommend are Architects of the West Kingdom, I think it's. Yeah, that's the full title of the game. I can never say the full thing, I just call it Architects. But that one's also very similar to this. Improves in a couple things, but we'll get into that in another video. The other one I would say, if you like Stone Age, is Caverna. That one, it's a little bit older, but it's probably one of my favorites. I haven't played it a lot, but it's very similar to Stone Age, so definitely check those games out if you are looking for something similar to Stone Age, but a little more advanced.
Yes, Caverna. A little bit more advanced.
There's a reason I'm not saying to check out our video on that one yet. It's just a little more advanced. That's our video. So if you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow our board game journey and check out other reviews or playthroughs or setup of games, consider subscribing and then hitting that bell for anything that we kind of come out with. We're still kind of pumping out what we can for videos for everything, but we're starting to get a little bit of library, so check us out. If you want to leave a comment on what you like about Stone Age or dislike about Stone Age, by all means do that in the comments down below and start the discussion. You know, don't call people out. Don't be rude. Don't be like that. There's enough hatred out there in the world. Just have a discussion, just like we did here. You know, no fingers pointing about how bad someone rolled last time. This guy.
Or if someone rolled Needles. That guy.
Check that was a highlight.
Check
Thank you all. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. I've been Eric.
I was Rich.
I'm Craig.
And whose turn?
With that, it's 3 between 2 dice. just don't roll 6.